Hi guys, welcome back to the Funny Thing Is podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Birch, where every week I bring you a guest who shares a life-changing event, the medicine they took to get better, and the funniest lesson they learned along the way. Today, we have a very special guest for you. She is a parenting coach, author, and child development professor with 20 years of experience supporting families. She has a master's in early childhood education and works with families. She does one-on-one sessions and parenting groups. Welcome, Gia Gambaro Blount. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for doing this. We met at a Groansy,
Groansy. I think we never quite decided.
I just did a gig with them recently, and I think they still don't know how to say it.
Okay,
but it's a lovely baby brand company.
Yeah, lots of cool gear.
Lots of cool gear.
Mm-hmm.
And they had me MC, and they had you as a guest speaker.
Yes.
And I thought, I've read so many books. I'm a researcher. I love learning about, with my daughter, I think I read 5 books and then I can't even tell you how much I Googled. And I was like wanting to be as prepared as possible for parenting, especially as a single mom. And I think I learned more in you speaking the first 10 minutes because you were talking about the baby's brain and how it develops and like how... Yeah. And I'm like, if more parents knew how a baby's brain worked, it would change how you parent completely.
That's incredibly flattering. Thank you.
So I was like
really
taking
happy
notes.
That we met.
Yeah, I was just taking notes. I was like, this is great. So I'm so glad you're here.
And some of it's helped already, right?
Some of it's already helped. Yeah. Completely.
Good.
And so I wanted to know, you're also the co-author of, we had Laura Barrick on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you co-authored the Good to Go This is the potty training book you guys want. Okay. This has everything in it. And if we could touch on upskilling at some point.
Yeah. It's foundational in the book, but it's about anything and everything in parenting.
It applies to everything.
It does.
And it is already changing
I'm so happy to hear that. Good.
And so what is a life-changing event you would like to share?
Becoming a parent.
Yeah.
That was my life-changing event.
Yeah. That would do it.
So my background, I've only had one job my whole life. I started as a babysitter at 12 years old, and I've never done anything else. Okay. I was an after-school camp counselor. I was a summer counselor. Like, I've only ever worked with families and children.
I love that.
Since I was 12. I never waited tables. I never answered a phone. I never did anything else. So my whole career, I didn't even know it was going to be my career, but my whole career has always been working with children, working with families.
Yeah.
So I got my degree in developmental psychology. Then I got my master's in infant toddler development. And I started right away, like working in classrooms and really felt like I had a good handle. I was very educated, had tons of experience.
Right.
And was like the go-to teacher. I was fun,
Yeah.
And then I had kids.
Okay.
That was everything I thought I knew kind of went out the window.
Yeah.
It's such a different experience from the other side. And my kids are so different from one another that with one kid, I thought I had it figured out. Then the other one comes along and it was completely different.
There's a comedian, Jimmy Carr, and he does a bit where he goes, when we had our first kid, you kind of go, oh, it's nurture. I'm doing this. I'm creating
Look
this
at me.
kid. Look at
Look
me.
what I'm
I've got
doing.
this.
Yes.
And that second kid comes along and you're like, it's nature, man.
Yeah.
I don't have near of a control or a hand in this that I thought I had.
Yeah. There's obviously in child development, it's called temperament. There's 9 dimensions of temperament. So they have they have they come with big personalities. Mm-hmm. And obviously the way we care for them does shape things for sure. But it is part of how we wrote Good to Go was because of my experience with my boys. One kid took forever to potty train and the other one ripped off his diaper, held it in the air and said, I'm not a baby anymore. And that was that.
And you're like, and I parent them the same. Like,
I know.
You know what I mean?
I'm the same mom. This is the same house. We're doing all the same things. They just really come so different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
The real job is being a curious observer and supporting what you get.
Right.
You can't really make them a certain way.
Right.
But you can support what you get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We have a million questions to get through. So we're going to start. Okay. Let's just start because again, we had like 46 questions. This was in a 24-hour period on just tantrums. So I think
me in business, baby.
Okay. This is it. This is it.
Yes.
Okay. Number one, how to deal with tantrums in public, and is it different than when you're at home?
Yes, that's a really insightful question,
Yeah.
actually. So I like to look at tantrums in the before, during, and after,
Okay.
because there is only times that you can teach is really before. There's only so much you can do in the middle of a tantrum,
Right.
and then how you clean up after.
Right.
So she's asking a during question,
Mm-hmm.
and during a tantrum, there is not much you can do other than survive.
Right.
There's a few tricks up my sleeve that I teach. One is like rapid sensory changes. This can work where, like, let's say you're at a grocery store, you can just like go outside.
Right.
Like just abandon your cart, go outside, like just something that really shifts. You could try offering something to drink, something to eat, turning on music, turning off music, like anything that flips one or more of the senses can kind of scramble the kid's brain a little bit and pull them out of the tantrum.
Oh, interesting.
And you also want to connect with whatever it is they're feeling, frustration, anger. Let's say they dropped something and you say, oh, you're so mad you dropped it. So that's like the emotional intelligence. Acknowledge and validate, but then move on.
Yeah.
Don't spin out with them. And I see too many parents doing that. We're like, I know it's hard. You dropped your toy. You're really sad. And they want to connect. They're doing the high attachment, high warmth, building that emotional empathy and connection, but it's too much. Yeah. You want to be future focused a little bit. So what it would sound like is you dropped your toy. You're so sad. Now we're going to go pick out the cereal that we want. See, like, oh, there's a red box. There's a blue box.
Oh, this is good for my husband because my husband also, now granted, my daughter's 6 now. Yeah. So she doesn't really have like the tantrums I'm thinking of, the kicking and screaming and the, and not, I mean, hers were huge, but he'll sit with her for a while and just be like, I know that and he's having these like long, and I'm like, she's not 15, like having these long discussions is like, you can tell she's already getting bored and ignoring what he's saying.
Yeah. And there might be time to do the idea of what he wants, to process whatever she went through, but it's never during. Yeah. It's never as it's happening. Yeah. You want to connect and move out of it. Yeah. And then that's the after. The after is the verbal processing. Right. Like maybe later that day or maybe even the next day that you say, like, remember yesterday when you dropped your toy and it broke or whatever happened? Right. You were really upset about that. And then you can talk about it. Sometimes what will happen is you re-trigger your child. Yeah. They'll start crying again. And that's actually a good sign. Oh. Yeah. Because if you bring up something hard that happened, like dropping off at preschool, you missed me and you cried, whatever. If they cry again, it means they have not processed it. They have not made peace with it. It is still rattling around in their brain. You mentioned brain development, and the emotional side of our brain is the most active, and our logic and reasoning is less so. Right. So we have to help them move it from emotions to logic. Yeah. So when you bring up something hard and they cry again, it means it was stuck in all emotion. Yeah. And when it's stuck in all emotion, they often make up weird stuff about it. Like it's all their fault, it's all someone else's fault. And so you want them to process it. It's like something happened. It wasn't great. It was no one's fault. Like things happen. Right. I often use this example about verbal processing where I ask you, the grown-up, like if I asked you about an ex that you had in high school and you started crying about it right now, what does that tell you?
Oh my gosh, that's a great analogy.
You're not over it. Yeah. You need to deal with that. Yeah. And you don't want to have your child alone with it. Like with it, whatever it is. They have little kids, little problems, like it was dropped ice cream or whatever. Right. But it's still something big for them. And either they're left alone with it or you bring it, you surface it and process it.
I think and we'll get to this later, but there's a new baby on the way, but my daughter's like tantrums feel like they're coming back a little bit. Okay. And I'm trying, now that she's a little bit older, and I don't know if you do this with a 3-year-old, but you're like, hey, this is a really big reaction to a really small
perspective.
Yeah.
So there's a way that you teach perspective, and it is around the age of 3 when they have more logic and reasoning. Yeah. And to teach, so it's back to this emotional intelligence thing we were just talking about of like, we're connecting with your feeling. You're feeling frustrated. You're feeling overwhelmed. You're crying. that is appropriate when they're little. When they're over 3, then you want to give them a way to see the difference between a big deal and a little deal.
Okay.
And you literally need to build the file. Otherwise, everything feels like a big deal to them.
Ooh,
Everything
how do you build
stays
the file?
level 10.
How do you build that file?
So you go back to the after, right? After a tantrum, after a hard thing, maybe the day after or even a few days later, could be the same night, whatever, just not in the moment, right? Just not in the moment. And you bring up the hard thing and you see what they say about it. They might cry again or whatever, be mad again, like, yeah, you didn't let me have ice cream, like whatever it is.
Right.
And then you insert what you do as an adult, which is you go through quite rapidly in your mind how you know it's not a big deal.
Right.
So you introduce that to them. You might say something like this. Were you safe though when you dropped your ice cream? Yeah, you were safe. Were the people you love safe? Yeah, mommy was fine.
Yeah.
Is it a problem that would last forever? Like change your life forever? No. Is it fixable? Yeah, we could get more ice cream. Like it's not the end of ice cream forever. So that tells me, mommy, that it's a little deal. It doesn't need a lot of crying. It doesn't.
That's great.
Yes.
Gia.
Thank you. Yes. I kind of joke when I teach this in class that I'm trying to bring back don't cry over spilled milk.
Yes.
I'm trying to bring that back. Yes. Like,
because that was like, man, you're crying like you did when you were 3. And I'm
but
just
the modern twist, because the end of that phrase is don't cry over spilled milk. I'll give you something to cry about. We're not doing that part.
That part's gone.
That part's gone. What we're doing instead is this is why we don't cry over spilled milk.
Right.
This is the reason. Right. It's not a big deal. But they literally, the way the brain is developed in child development, we call it schemas. I use the word file folders because that makes sense for people.
Right.
Like they can't file it appropriately, their experience, unless we build the file holder first.
Right.
So that's why we want some language. Big deal, little deal, or big problem, little problem.
Got it.
Run them through the rubric, like the questions that we know it's a big deal or a little deal, and file it.
That's great. Oh, I love that. Okay. How old is too old to be having tantrums, and when should you be concerned?
Well, when's the last time you cried?
I mean, I cried. I know. I was about to say
this morning.
I was like this morning on the way here. What are you talking about?
I know.
Yeah.
I think the question underneath the question is, should I be worried?
Yeah.
I think it's like, oh my gosh, is this a sign of something? And a tantrum is a sign of upset. Right. So how can they manage upset? Now, if you haven't tried some of these emotional regulation skills, we haven't talked yet about coping strategies and the perspective taking. It does take time to build up these skill sets. If it makes no dent in their level of tantrum, some of this practice that we're doing, then we might think to ourselves, I wonder if they need something more.
Right.
But something that I teach is this idea of emotional hygiene. Have you heard that term before?
No, I love that.
I don't know if I made it up or not. I don't feel like I did, but anytime I say it, people don't know what it is. So I use the word hygiene because hygiene we have regular practice of.
Yeah.
Right. We brush our teeth every day. We don't wait for cavities.
Right.
We wash our hair. We don't wait for knots and stink. Right. And so kids are used to hygiene practices and we take care of them all the time preventatively.
Right.
But usually we only wait to teach them about their feelings and their emotions when the shit has hit the fan.
Yeah.
Exactly. So emotional hygiene, if you put this together, emotional hygiene is a regular practice of taking care of your feelings. And it's 1 to 5 minutes a day at the most. And I utilize something called the time, place, tool method, which is the same thing that we do for brushing teeth.
Right.
You brush your teeth the same time every day in the same place every day with certain tools. And we can use that same construct for emotional hygiene.
I'm obsessed with this.
It's touched on a little bit in Good to Go.
Okay.
We talk about potty training being very emotionally dysregulating. You're learning a new thing. It's hard.
Right.
And so we talk about emotional hygiene, just check in with your kid 1 to 5 minutes a day. During your emotional hygiene time, I talk about verbal processing, which we just talked about.
Right.
practicing coping strategies like deep breaths, pressure points, a million other things,
Right.
and also replacement behaviors. So, and the perspective taking, but replacement behavior specifically for young toddlers that want to hit, bite, scratch, pull,
Right.
that we can say, you can be mad, but you can't do that.
Right.
You can do
Right.
this instead. Right. And then
what
also
are some
good time. Yeah.
what are some options that they could do instead?
Yeah. So one thing that I teach, especially for younger children, is that you need to allow them to have a big-bodied release.
Mhm.
It's really important when you have a huge emotion, it comes out physically somehow. So every problem starts with a trigger. Then you have a feeling, and that feeling is invisible. Right? We can't see
Right.
feelings. All you see is the behavior. So it has to come out, and for little kids in a big-bodied way. And that's the tantrum. That's the life of a tantrum, is that big-bodied release, hitting or whatever it is. And however long that lasts is the life of a tantrum till we get to resolution at some point. They come out the other side.
Right.
So they need to have a behavior. They need to have something to let it out. Ones that don't cause harm to self, harm to others, or damage to property, because those are kids' go-to normally.
Right.
So some replacement behaviors would also be big-bodied, like stomping, squeezing and releasing, vocalizing, which is like grunting or like just like getting it out. That's or even verbalizing, like, I don't like that. That's not fair. You can say how you feel without causing harm to anyone.
Right.
Grown-ups get curse words. Right? We get to say something, like even the most, mature person, if I just spilled this water all over the mic, there would be a reaction. I'd be like, oh my God. Or like I'd say a curse word or, I would have a physical release.
Right.
So we need to allow them to have it until logic and reasoning clicks in. So another version is that I spill the water and I don't say a curse word and I just go straight to logic, which is like, that's what insurance is for. No big deal. So it kind of depends on your own maturity.
Right.
Yeah. So
That's
just said a few, but I do a workshop called Emotional Hygiene and I list tons of replacement behaviors.
I mean, that's great. How long should a tantrum last and when should the length of time of a tantrum. Is there like a normal?
There really isn't. I mean, there is usually like the rule of thumb is about 20 minutes, like just to allow it to kind of peter out on its own.
Right.
Usually it's a lot less than that. If kids go beyond 20 minutes, if they really, really can't come back to themselves, then we need to help them. Right. And the way that we can help them is either like some version of a weighted blanket or a secure hug, a bear hug, something to like get them back in their body and feel grounded, touch grass, fresh air, water, something. That's a very long time to be dysregulated. Right. It really kind of just depends again on temperament and personality. Yeah. Some kids have, I don't know, like they can hold on to it. Right. They can, they're not going to forget. They can hold on to it, but allowing them to just cry it out as long as they're not doing the three things that I said, harm to self, harm to others, damage to property, let it out. I know it's very worrisome if it lasts longer than 20 minutes. Then the thing that happens is parents get dysregulated. Right. It's like a form of torture to just hear the noise.
Right.
Like just the noise is so hard. Yeah.
There was a parenting, somebody, this is, I don't know what she does, but she gives advice and she said like all kids kind of fall into a category of like, you can have like a runner, jumper, climber, biter, tantrum. And she goes, all kids have tantrums, but if tantrums are a little bit more elevated or longer, which is what my daughter was, she goes, that might be more about their temperament, where the other ones the kids grow out of, right? Yeah. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, oh no, because it is my daughter's personality to have these big. It's just big. It's emotional. It's like, And so I was like, oh, it's been really interesting. She's very strong-willed, very combative, and that's not how I was. And so to like really get on her level and try to communicate with her, and the things that she needs are not things I needed. So she needs somebody, if she wants to watch a show on TV, she wants me sitting next to her. She wants, she's a mommy's girl. So she needs to be attached at all times.
You're her lovey.
I'm her lovey.
No blanket will do.
No blanket. And like even my husband, who's very active with her, like he can't, if she watches more than an hour of TV, in a day, he gets antsy and he's like, I got to take her to the trampoline park. We got to go out for a run. We got to go for
yeah.
like, which is a great
Yeah,
partner
he's
to
hands-on.
have.
Yeah.
But he's the one, like being with him, he's the one who's like, you do realize like she needs you there. Like these are the formative years and like she needs you as much as possible. So that's been interesting because I was an independent, like I don't need anybody. And
At
so
that young even? Because you do need someone that young.
I mean,
like,
I think it was more my parents were divorced and chaos and
yeah, that's
and
attachment stuff.
That's attachment stuff.
You're
and
like, I'm independent.
Neither
or I
were
was forced to
I
be.
didn't feel secure with either. So it was that. I think that was probably why. But with her, I'm like, okay. And so it is the phone down. You can't be on your phone. You can't be on. You have to be connected. And as soon as I connect with her, it's her. You just see it. Her shoulders drop. Aww, she's not this emotional. And I'm like, oh. This is what they mean by the parenting techniques and like how to connection. One of the questions is how can I bond? Somebody wrote in, how can I bond with my child more while still enforcing rules?
Oh, interesting question.
Yeah. Like,
well, I mean, just to say what is happening too with your daughter, I would say like, it's not like the quantity of time, right? It's the quality. She wants like connection, eye contact to be part of what she's doing. I would say balance that. Also invite her into some of what you're doing. Ooh. Otherwise it's always her show. Like watch my show.
That's kind of what it feels.
Yeah. No, you're being like told what to do. And so if it's connection based, she is old enough to know that connection goes two ways. And so you can say, I can't wait to watch your show. After yours, we're going to pick mine. Great. Right. And you can see what I like. And there are smaller versions of this. Yes. Yeah. Because you have to be like, I'm a person too. Right. Right. It's not just whatever you want. Right. A smaller version of this that anybody listening right now can start to do like right away is when you pick up your kids from school or childcare, when you see them and you have to obviously ask, how are you? How was your day? Like that comes out knee jerk. So still do that. Ask them, how was your day? How was school? What did you do with nanny? Whatever. And then force them to ask you back. Yeah. Say, no, ask me about my day. Say, what did you do today, mommy? And just, that's a very simple
her
two-way
dad's great
exchange.
At that. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that's good. He does that.
Yeah. That's an easy one that you can implement at home immediately. But what you can do is like, okay, your turn, my turn for the show, for the game, for whatever it is that she wants to bond over. Great. Can start inserting that you're a real person too.
Yeah. Someone asked, how do you not make a narcissistic child? Is that one of the things, I guess, is to make sure that they're...
Yeah, I mean, narcissist...
I know, it's like at a child... like
I mean, I don't think we're even that powerful to make one or not make one. Yeah. You know, I don't think parenting it can actually do that. Yeah. I think they're kind of born that way, sadly, you know. But what you can do, maybe the question, again, is more about entitlement, where they think they deserve everything or don't have to work or, you know, that's more what I'm hearing in my classes is fear of entitlement. And I often teach like the antidote to entitlement is feeling useful and counted on. Yeah. And so you can also start that very young.
Yeah, we do that. We do a lot of stuff like that with her. And it's so funny if we ask her to do a chore or I'm like, hey, can you help mommy cook or can you help mommy clean? Or, hey, we got to do the dishes. She is, and like excited for baby brother to come because she's I want to give all the baths. Oh, yeah. I want to do all the feedings. And I was like, well, I'm going to need so much help. She lights up at, I need help.
There's a primal reason for that. We have a hierarchy of needs, right? You might have heard of Maslow, the triangle of like, you have to be safe. Like if a lion is chasing you, you can't have a meal. Right. So first is safety, then it's like food and shelter, and then it's belonging. Belonging is right after that. So like to be in your village, to be in your tribe. And that is primal. We need it. That's why connection is the glue that holds us together. Yeah. And so there are ways that you can help your child to feel safe when they're too centered, when you're child centered, that actually doesn't feel safe to them. And they can kind of be a quote unquote monster or a brat. Yeah. But if you are belonging focused, we all matter, we all count, then they're part of the team. Yeah. So you were talking about chores, and I would say there's two types of chores. Please. Yeah. One is individual responsibility, and that grows over time. They take care of their own stuff. right? Put away your shoes, clean up your mess,
Right.
make
Doing
your
that.
bed.
Okay.
Those are individual, and they grow over time with maturity. They continue to increase what they are able to do.
Right.
The other one is family responsibility, and that stays static. That's only 1 or 2 the whole time they're living with you. They
Right.
should not do more than that. They're not parents. They're not
Right.
paying taxes,
Yeah. I was the oldest of 3, so I'm like, she's not going to be our permanent babysitter. Like, that's not what's happening.
You remember.
I'm like, we're not doing that.
Yeah. And a 6-year age difference, you'll have too long to wait for a babysitter. She'll be too young to do it.
Exactly. Yeah.
But like family responsibilities are things that help the whole family. So something fun that little kids can do is like be the toilet paper refiller, but you have to really count on them. So you can't do it. So you are on the toilet and you have to be like, honey, bring me some toilet paper. Like, that's the part that feels good, is being relied on. So if it's just like sometimes helping with the dishes, that's nice overall, but that is your job that she's helping you with.
Yes. Okay.
So instead she has to own 1 or 2 things that if she doesn't do it, it impacts the family. Like, no one has toilet paper. No one has matching socks. There's the dishwasher's never emptied.
Oh, I love
something like that.
Okay.
Something simple.
Yeah.
And start small. Start with one thing.
I love the toilet paper thing.
It's so easy.
Great.
Yeah. So easy.
And she would it's so.
And tell her, this is your job. We'll rely on you for that.
Oh my gosh,
mommy and daddy do a lot. This is your job.
Oh my gosh, she would love it.
Okay.
Oh, good.
She can wear a special hat.
Okay.
Toilet paper filler.
A little toilet paper filler hat. We'll get her a t-shirt and everything. Okay. You have, before we get into the other questions, I want to make sure that we hit this. The value-centered parenting tool, the VCP, which is available to people on Amazon.
It is. Yeah.
And you created this.
I did. So like I said at the beginning, I thought I knew so much.
Yeah.
Then I had kids.
I think we always,
I know. And then I started teaching parenting classes when my first son was about 1.5 years. I started as a student in a parenting class, and the teacher was like, you'd be good at this.
Yeah.
And then I started teaching one class. And about 5-6 years into teaching these parenting classes, it was almost like a vision. I saw an image of what parenting is.
Right.
And it's like this verb, it's an action, and you're constantly moving. All of that is very understandable and relatable.
Right.
But I saw it as you're always doing one of 3 things: teaching, modeling, reinforcing. Teaching, modeling, reinforcing. That's like the whole thing. And so I kind of envisioned it as like that recycling sign, the arrows in a circle. Like you're always doing that, but why are you doing it? What drives it? And that part is usually invisible to kids. And that is what is at the center. And that's why I call it the values-centered parenting tool. Right. There is some core belief. There is something that you care about, morals, ethics, whatever, that drives all of your parenting. And an easy way to see this come to the surface very easily is putting on seatbelts. Like you always put on their seatbelts, and you always wear yours. And do you reinforce it? Yeah, you make sure it happens.
Right.
So we're teaching, modeling, and reinforcing it, but do they know why? Have you surfaced the value behind your actions, or are you just doing stuff to their bodies? Yeah, and you and so that example also, like, it could be really choose your own adventure, because in one parents or one family, they could say, well, it's to keep them safe. I want them to be safe. So next time I buckle them in, I'll tell them this is how I keep your body safe. And the next time I put on my seatbelt, I'll narrate, I want to keep my body safe too. And when they're doing it right or helping me, I'll say, look at you keeping your body safe.
Yeah.
But another parent or another family dynamic might center obedience. And then you would say, we have to follow the law. If you don't put your seatbelts on, you're breaking the law, and you're teaching obedience.
Your analogies are like amazing.
Thank
so
you.
It doesn't
years to think about it.
So it doesn't really matter. Like, every family's going to have different set of values.
That's what the workbook is that I just put on Amazon. I kept using this handout, and it kept growing and growing, and it like turned into this whole thing that I can't just like print and give away anymore.
Right.
So you just like pay the printing price. It's one of those print on demands. It's
Great.
like a PDF that you can get.
Great.
And it's an exercise. It's a workbook where you circle values, you practice like how it would look, how you would teach it. Can you make a motto out of it? How do you make it sticky in their minds that you can really surface your intention behind all the stuff that you're doing? And it also helps you make decisions and stay out of guilt. Because when you make a decision that's really values aligned, then you don't feel guilty about it. Just like the car seat. If you shove them in the car seat and force the buckling, you don't have to feel bad because you know you're keeping them safe. They don't understand it yet, but you don't feel guilty. You feel like, I got to do this to keep them safe. They don't understand it yet, but I do.
Yeah.
So that's why we can stay away from guilt if we stay really clean and clear about what our values are and surface them for ourselves.
Yeah.
You'll have encounters where you won't know what to do with your child. Like, you know, should I go to my sister's kid's first birthday party or should I take them to their first soccer game? My kid's own, you know, she's 6, so she'll probably start doing sports.
Yeah.
But then maybe there's a birthday party at the same time. How do you make that decision? Instead of just like flying by the seat of your pants, you can use this tool. Be like, well, are we family first, family oriented? Then easy. We skip the soccer game and we go to my sister's birthday. If we are commitment, then we go to the game. We committed to a team.
And neither's right or wrong.
Neither is right or wrong. That's right.
I love that. And before you get off completely of the tantrum, I want to go back to the tantrum.
Oh, sure.
I think I learned this from you when we met at the Babyless showroom is, and I was kind of naturally doing it. I didn't know why I was doing it. But when my daughter would have these big emotions, even if it was like in a living room or at my mom's house or in like big spaces, I wanted to whisk her away to a smaller room. And then she would like slowly change. And it was like, I just wanted, and I think you said something, you're like, make the world smaller for them.
Yes.
And I was like, that's what works.
You had good instincts.
It was instinct. It was instincts, but it was just like, oh, make the world smaller. And I see a lot of parents and friends and stuff that they like their kids are dysregulated and they kind of get to just control the whole like function that we're at. And
it's that
like,
child-centered thing.
Yeah.
It's like,
nope. And move them and make it small.
Yeah.
And make it small and make it safe.
Such good instincts.
Yeah.
The in public one is a little harder. Yeah. But I have recommended to parents, like, you know, you're wearing a jacket right now. You could take off your jacket, put it over your head and over theirs in the shopping cart and be like, here I am. Let's take a deep breath together. And you can just do that in the middle of Target,
right?
You know, and just be like, let's take a deep breath after here together. See if it brings them closer to you, like both physically, but also emotionally. Like just like this grounding moment. It's darker.
She
it's
had
more intimate.
One in a crowded airport. Like everybody was about to board and we were like there and she was flipping out. I don't know why my cousin was randomly there, but he like came over to like talk to us and I was like, not now. And so I took her into a corner and around a side and I like put our suitcases and I crouched next to her. Yes, you
made a nest.
I made a nest.
Yes.
And he kept trying to, I was like, I will talk to you in 10 minutes, not now.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where it was like, oh, she just needed small.
Yeah. I mean, the word we're looking for is she was being overstimulated, right?
1,000%.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so we just have to bring it down as many notches as we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So back to the value-centered parenting tool. Okay. What are, how have you noticed that it's changed people's parenting styles?
I teach it in every class.
Yeah.
Because it fits every single thing. Because it's the act of parenting.
Right.
The most fun that I have is teaching it because I always see this like this aha moment of like, oh, I'm not sure why I cared about that. So for example, I get a lot of questions about picky eating. And I was like, well, you don't want to have a picky eater. So what do you want? They're like, but I don't want a picky eater. I was like, so say what you want. And like parents can't do it. I was like, well, what's not a picky eater? Like, come on, you got this.
I don't think I could if you asked me that.
So you can't teach what you don't know.
Oh my
You
God.
can't
This is
teach,
why we
model,
keep
and
having
reinforce.
An issue with it because we don't even know
the
what it is.
The opposite, in my opinion, but again, choose your own
adventure,
is actually being adventurous.
Yeah.
Right? It is being adventurous. It is like we want to try new things.
I want her to be curious.
Curiosity. So you stick curiosity in the middle. And with food, let's just follow this one as an example of how you could use this tool. If picky eating is your thing that you're trying to work on and you're going to center curiosity, start with curiosity in things that are not food. teach curiosity first, right? Be like,
Oh.
let's be curious about trying new music.
Yeah.
Let's be curious about trying a new playground.
Right.
So you're using the word curious, you're using the word try or try it, not about food.
Right.
And then you can bring it into food. Once they've seen a practice
Right.
of being curious about music, trying new music. Mommy's going to be curious about music, trying new music, like the teach, model, reinforce of curiosity before you go big time over the picky eating, right?
That's
be
so
like,
great.
be curious about this Brussels sprout.
Right.
Like, don't go deep yet on that.
Yeah.
Build it up. So they trust
Right.
the curiosity and the process. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What else? Anything else on that you want to share with the VCP?
Oh, about the VCP in general? I think that the idea of surfacing your values is the most important part, but you can also overdo it.
Yeah.
So you don't have to say all the time, every day, like, this is to keep you safe and this is blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like, pepper it in here and there. Like,
Right.
otherwise it turns into kind of background noise anyway.
Right.
So you usually know that you have to really surface whatever that core value is when something is getting difficult, like there's turbulence, like the picky eating, for example.
Right.
If you're like, God, I'm really trying to crack this nut, let me start really
Yeah.
focusing on curiosity
Yeah.
to see if that will help change things.
I also think this is also therapy for parents.
Probably.
Do you know what I mean? Because
Yes.
it's like, oh, I just learned something about myself. Why do I value that? And then that becomes a driving force. And once you recognize that
Yes.
that's what it is,
Yes.
it kind of not controls, but like steers the wheel on the rest of it.
That's what I was trying to say about guilt.
Yeah.
Like, when you can identify what the value is or the thing that you care about, whatever that belief is, then you feel less and less guilt. You only feel guilty when you are out of alignment with your values.
Right.
Then
Right.
if you're in your values, you might have empathy. You're sad. Your kid is sad, but you don't feel guilty or shame.
About it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
that's probably one of the biggest benefits of this tool is shedding that parenting guilt.
Okay, here's one. What are the ins and outs of being a parenting coach?
Oh, the good stuff.
The good stuff.
Yeah. So I've only been doing private coaching for maybe the past 5 years. It was
Okay.
kind of a COVID thing when I couldn't just talk to you after class anymore,
Right.
because I teach so many parenting classes. And then during COVID, it was just challenging. So I started doing private one-on-one coaching. And the way that it works is that you can go to my website and book an appointment on my calendar. And it's either 30 minutes or 60 minutes. I also have a group coaching that is really fun if you, if you think you want some regular support, and that we meet twice a month on Zoom.
Great.
And then we bring in all kinds of issues, and you learn from each other.
Is there an age range you're looking for? Like parents that have a 2 to...
Yeah. I'm considered an early childhood specialist.
Right.
And so for this group, it's between 2 and 5 years old is
Right.
kind of the range I'm looking for. So if we go too far below, obviously the first year of life, it's all sleep questions.
It's all sleep anyway.
Yeah. But with the 2-year-olds, it's a lot of tantrum questions. So the age range is 2 to 5. And we've had so many interesting questions so far that I might not have necessarily thought to make a topic of one of my classes, or other parents didn't know they wanted to know about.
Right.
For example, I had a dad ask about financial literacy. He's a 3-year-old. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so for this group coaching, they have to turn in their questions at least 24 hours ahead. And then I prepare and we do this whole
brilliant.
class.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I did some research and I thought about what I did with my own boys. I taught them the teach, save, give model. And so we talked about in class, and every single person in the group was like, I would have never asked this, but thank you. I wanted to know. It's so helpful. The value of $1. Kids want everything.
So she was 6 and she goes, I want a Barbie dream house. And we are in a temporary apartment until we get into our house.
Okay.
And I'm like, there's no room for it. So I was like, look, we're not going to get that. And she's like, well, if I do this, this, and this. And I go, no, we're not going to. If you can save up your own money to get that, then we can talk about it. And she gave me her 2 piggy banks. And I'm like, there's no way there's $130. She had $196.
What?
We do a lot of lemonade stands, but also her grandmother would give her bundles of
So where's the Barbie dream house? In the middle of your living room?
It's in her bedroom.
Taking up all the space.
And I was like, this is a parenting lesson where it was like, okay, first of all, you called her bluff.
Yeah.
And so now you have to
or
show
she
her.
called yours.
She called mine.
Yeah.
So we got the Barbie dream house. And for me, it is such an eyesore. She is so happy with it.
Oh, she earned it.
But it's also like, does she play with it as much as she thought she would? No. And so I'm
Well,
like, it's also a good lesson.
And
you you spent almost all your money and she still has $60 left over.
That's
I'm like, what is happening?
That is a lot.
And so for her, I'm like, oh, what a great lesson in me thinking, haha, she's not going to get this.
Yeah.
But then I had to like,
of
show
course.
up.
Oh, of course. Yeah. What a great life lesson all around.
It was crazy.
Just because we talked about chores earlier, I would just bring this up for those family chores that I talked about, like helping with, never pay for those. That is because you live here.
Oh, yes.
Never pay for chores.
Yeah. I was going to say, yeah.
No.
I'm trying to think. My dad would give us, or my mom too, would give us extra money if we did extra stuff.
For sure. Something special.
Clean my bathroom.
For sure.
That stuff. But
something that you would pay someone to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wash my car or whatever. Yes.
Exactly. Okay. That makes sense. I'm glad you actually said that. Well, this kind of goes in because I don't know if that's the craziest question, but somebody want to know what is some of the craziest questions you've been asked from parents? I mean, the financial one's like, that
wasn't so crazy. It was a surprise that everybody got so much out of it.
Right.
That's what was cool. I mean, I've had really nervous parents, asking questions that are all full of heart and best intention. I think one of the ones that stands out for me is they were bringing home their second baby and they wanted to know where their first baby should be, their 2-year-old. They're like, in the house or on the street? Like, should we have them meet us in the garage or should they be like in the living room? And I was like,
so much.
I was so like, they were so worried about just like
introducing them.
Yeah. And just like, they were worried about something else. Right. So they were trying to control this small piece.
Right.
And it was just a huge transition. And like, obviously body placement of when you arrive home was a very small part of this.
Right.
But like something like that kind of stands out,
Yeah.
The harder things as a parenting coach is marital fights. That's really hard. And so I've learned some good strategies to rein it back in.
This is we're getting off topic.
Yeah.
This is something else.
I've learned that I have to insert myself and say like, let's try that again, or this is not the place for that, or I'm going to take over now. Like, this is why I'm here.
And now you're parenting them, which is great.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like that's been a challenge.
Kids from split families, like little ones. And is there a best custody arrangement? Is there what to expect from them behaviorally and how to keep them grounded as much as you can? Yeah.
I mean, I divorced my kids' dad when they were 4 and 7. So
okay.
So I have a lot of like personal experience with this as well.
Right.
I would say some of the tips I give, and then I'll answer that question as well, is try not to name houses after the parents. So like you're not
dad's house, mom's house.
Yeah, because then where's my house? Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about
right?
that.
Yeah. So that's like a simple one.
Okay.
Usually I say like use the street name or the color. Like we're going to the blue house today.
Oh, I love.
Something like that, or the street that you're on, First Street or whatever. So that's like a simple thing. I think the split is 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, it depends on the age.
I know a lot of that. I was like, if they're 10 versus 2, that's very different.
And if they're in elementary school, because then there's also like proximity to school and drop-offs and pickups. And the most annoying thing.
There's a lot of nuance.
There's so much. Yeah. And what was so hard in my divorce was like, where's the backpack? Where's the belt? Oh my God.
Right.
Like, so buy 2 of everything. Like let one house have a whole set. Like don't divide. Like don't have one backpack.
Yeah.
Have an emergency backpack
just
and
in
lunchbox.
case.
And I don't know why the belt is like scarred in my mind, always looking, because my kids had to wear a uniform for their school.
Yeah.
And it's like, I should have just had 10 belts.
Yeah,
they would always
around.
Disappear. I don't know. Yeah, well, that was scarring.
Yeah, I had a friend who was like, don't do the 223. I grew up in 223. I lived out of state. So I just did Christmases, summers, which is kind of what Everly is doing, but her dad comes to visit. And I think we've got a pretty good arrangement, and we FaceTime every day with him. And
that's a great
really,
idea.
And he has a house that he has in Utah, and she calls it Everly's house. She's like,
perfect.
That's Everly's house.
She figured it out on her own.
So she did that on her own.
Good
which is
for
great.
her.
And so we have a good arrangement, but then there's like 7 on, 7 off, which like that gives me a panic attack.
Yeah, because we're separated from them for so long. I know.
And I'm sure they are just fine.
Yeah. I don't have an answer to this.
Yeah.
I think it's all hard, but it's all the survivable kind of hard.
Right.
What the kids need is whatever rhythm that you decide to stick to it.
Right.
And that's one of the things I have to teach. I mean, they'll get this with their attorneys as well, but like when it is your custodial day, that means you're 100% responsible. And so if you have to go to work that day, the other parent only gets the first right of refusal.
Yeah,
they don't have to take the child.
Right.
And that can really like be brain breaking when you're in the beginning. It's like, well, if I can't watch it, then you have to. And it's like, no, that's not how it works.
Yeah. That's crazy. Okay. How would you handle a high emotions child, maybe hyperactive? Oh no, wait. I think we're not going to do that one, right?
I mean, hyperactivity in early childhood can sometimes be a sign of ADHD in the future, but usually like developmentally appropriate big body movements and bouncing around is just developmental.
Yeah.
So it's hard to tell the difference between that and something that could be diagnosed.
I always joke. I said I wanted a boy, and then I got a girl with boy energy. And so I was like, she's just always constantly moving. But I'm also like, I don't have a concern. I think like it's been age appropriate. Along the way.
It's usually around 7 years old, which is just when it starts to that's when early childhood ends and middle childhood starts. And my focus is early childhood.
Okay.
Usually 7 years old is when diagnosis begins because that's when which one of these is not like the other.
Yeah.
Like all the other second graders are sitting and writing their name and one kid cannot. Yeah. Like they just cannot sit there.
Right.
Yes. And it's so hard on them. Yeah. So then you can start to tell. We've
discovered my daughter, like the first part of kindergarten, the first half of kindergarten. And she's in there with some like 4, almost 5-year-olds, but she's 6 because her birthday's like September 6th. So she's like the oldest.
Yep.
And so they go, oh, all the kids, they're talking all the time. They're singing all the time. That's kind of what it is. And then this last semester, she goes, so your daughter's the only one that is still completely singing to herself the entire day. And she doesn't have an internal monologue. And I was like, interesting.
Yep.
They're like, it's not anything we're worried about. She's not really a distraction, but it's just something to pay attention to.
But it might be. I mean, my son in kinder or first grade, I can't remember now. It all becomes a blur. Got it not in trouble, but his teacher's like, can you ask him to stop, ready for this, whistling while he works? Whistle.
It works. That's so funny.
And they call it psychomotor agitation, where you just like can't be still. He needs like gum. He needs a fidget. He needs
we gave her a necklace, like a stretchy necklace.
You need to mess with something constantly.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's so funny. But again, that's great. Okay. Let's see. Okay, this is one for me. When there's another baby on the way, and again, this is obviously age determined. Like if it's a 2-year-old, mine's 6, but when there's another baby on the way, how do we handle the older? You actually answered this at the Groansy thing because the twins. Do you remember the twins?
I don't remember.
There was a set of twins that were just born into a house with a 5-year-old. And the 5-year-old started wetting the bed again and kind of regressing. And I don't remember your answer. And when there's another baby on the way, how do we handle the older child acting out, regressing, and then introducing them at the hospital or that actually came
on the street,
in the house. So funny. Okay, so that question did come up again.
I know. See, it's a thing. Yeah, so maybe that's what I should be talking about on my Instagram.
Yeah.
Well, I would say first is preparation is very helpful.
Okay.
So there's a few things that you can do before the baby comes. I would say about 6 to 8 weeks before the baby comes to obviously prepare the environment for a baby coming,
right,
but also to prepare the older child that a baby is coming. So you bring out all the stuff that you're going to need: the crib, the bouncy seat, the new car seat, the play mat, like all the stuff, the rattles, the whatever, all that crap comes out 6 to 8 weeks before the baby comes, because you want the older child to interact with those things and for you to make rules about the equipment, not about the baby. Otherwise, you are making the baby the enemy.
Yeah, right.
So say, for example, you have the car seat out on the ground, and your big kid wants to sit in it. You'll say now, when there's no baby, you'll say like, you're too big for that. You have this car seat. You could sit on the couch with mommy, but you can't sit in that car seat. And you'll be calm about it. Because if they did sit in it for a second, you'd be like,
who cares?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
But if there was an infant in there, you'd be like,
yeah.
And then it turns into this whole thing.
Yeah.
So you want them to get used to the rules of all the stuff, all the gear that is about the gear and them, has nothing to do with the baby.
Right.
Right. We don't want the baby to be the blame for them not being able to do things.
Right.
So that is one thing that you can do to prepare.
That's great.
Yes.
Yeah.
We already gets it out of the way.
We have this huge walk-in closet and it's in such a weird part of the apartment. And I was like, oh, we're going to make that the changing area for the baby. So we have a changing table in there. And so she helped me decorate it.
There you go. Yeah.
And
you won't want her to climb on that, right?
Right.
So now she's going to learn if she tried to, you're going to say, please don't climb on that. It's not safe. Instead of you freaking out that the baby could fall out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. That makes sense.
Yes. It also sounds like a good spot for the Barbie dream house.
I know.
A giant walk-in closet.
I know. Like, we just hide this thing.
Yes.
And then any other thing, like emotionally when they're regressing.
Oh, yeah. So when they are regressing, because we don't know if it's because the baby is there.
Right.
Right. But it often happens because of that. One of the things that you can do is name one-on-one time. Like just me and you, special time. Otherwise, they might not catch it when the baby's sleeping that you are now paying more attention to them.
Right.
So you want to name it. Remember we talked about file building?
Love that.
Yeah.
So
otherwise, they'll just be like, you're never with me. You have to name it so it alerts the brain that it's happening.
Brilliant.
Yes, it's happening. I swear.
I can't imagine like being in it like a year and like doing the one-on-one time but not calling it out, and then she just feels like it's not happening. Oh my gosh.
They can't catch it, right? Yeah, they can't necessarily catch it. And also kind of what we were saying earlier, like having her have some kind of something to do when you will be busy. Your hands will be busy. So that's another thing that you can kind of rehearse or practice. So I like to make like little baskets or kits that are out of the way. So when you're going to nurse or bottle feed, or you're going to rock to sleep or something, you get this thing out of the shelf or that big closet of yours and say, I won't be able to play with you right now. I'm going to be feeding the baby. This is what you can be doing. Here's kinetic sand and scoops.
Oh, she loves crafts. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
And say,
great.
But again, not a surprise. Be like, because if you need help, I will not be able to help you. Right. This is your own thing.
Make it clear.
Make it clear. Yes.
Okay. I love that. And then, well, this is more like, how does a child's brain work the first year? Somebody asked that. I'm like, that's such a broad, I mean, there's a lot going on that
You're
first
building
year.
a brain, no pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. That feels like such a broad question.
I recommend the book, The Whole Brain Child. It talks about Tina Bryson.
That's on here. So I have The Whole Brain Child, Good Inside by Dr. Becky. Is there any other? There's Expecting Better. That's more like pregnancy, I think.
Yeah.
Right? And then I really liked Setting Limits with Your Strong-Willed Child.
Yeah.
Only because you don't have to read the whole book. You read it based on your child's age.
Yeah.
And that helped me a lot with Everly because it said that he breaks it down to where there's defiant children, fence sitters, and compliant children. Well, I was a compliant child. So if you're a compliant child raising a defiant child, it's a lot harder. Well, her dad was a defiant child. So he knows exactly how to handle her in a way that it comes natural to him.
Yeah.
With me, it's like a fight.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's a little bit more exhausting, but then it gives you the tools on like, no, you just have to be regimented. She needs structure. She needs, we talked about like, I always wanted to send her to a Montessori school. And then we met with the Montessori people and they're like, she's not going to thrive in child-led.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, thank you for telling me that, not just taking my money and wasting my time.
Yeah. I love that they did that. Yeah.
And they're like, no, she needs exact structure. She should not be, she needs to be told what to do.
Yes.
Lose it.
I do teach a class that's coming up. Actually, I do these webinars for UCLA on picking the right school for your child.
Oh, girl.
Yeah, for preschool, because it should be a temperament match. You want your kids' first experience with the identity of being a student or going to school and having a teacher when they're building that first identity separate from you, like not a mommy and me or like what I teach, because the parents stay the whole time, right? You might call it school, but you stay the whole time. So like a school where there's drop off and you come back later, you want their identity to sound like this on the inside. I like school and school likes me, because you want, even with the best intentioned teachers, if they're constantly, and loving and supportive teachers, if they're constantly redirecting your child will think like, I just can't do this. I'm not good at it. I'm not good at school.
Wrong.
I'm bad at school.
Right.
Yes. Or I'm in trouble or whatever.
That's actually, what a great tool. And then have you ever been stumped by a parenting question?
Yeah. I mean, I do every once in a while. I mean, yes, I get stumped by parenting questions. It's often, what it turns out to be often is that the child is neurodivergent in some way. And then I have to help lead them to a developmental assessment.
Resource. Okay.
Yeah, because I help with like typically developing children with, behavior challenges, sleep problems, that kind of thing. When there's some type of neurodivergence, like autism, for example, that's a specialty set of skills that you can start to identify very, very young, but you need different ways. Now, I've picked up things along the way with working with neurodivergent child. I have a neurodivergent child. I've picked up things for speech and language as well. And that's not my background. So it's just like being in the business for so long, you pick up things. So I can do some, but then usually get them into the right hands.
Yeah.
But that's the hard news to deliver sometimes.
Oh, I can't imagine.
Do you think that you need a developmental assessment? You can't just say it like that.
Even when my daughter needed speech, I was, and I was her number one caretaker. I had her 90% of the time on my own. And I remember her dad saying, I think she has a speech delay. And I remember being like, I think I would know if she has a speech delay. And then I remember crying for 5 days straight because I was like, she does need help.
Yes.
I was like, but we're making the milestones with the pediatrician. And then I remember seeing other kids in her play group. And I was like, oh, she's behind.
Yeah. I mean, you can't know what you don't know, right? Like you have this one child who's saying, 15 words, then you think that's what kids do.
It was the 15 words. It was the 15 words. And I was like, check.
Yeah.
Done.
And that's the lowest.
And I was like, dang. And now she's doing great. Okay. So it's like, okay, last question.
The right help helps so much.
Yes.
So I'm glad to hear she's doing great. Okay, last question. I'm ready.
She still has an IEP for speech just because we're like just covering.
Might as well. Yeah.
This is the one I wanted to end on. Could you explain upskilling, which is in your book?
Yes.
And it pertains to potty training, but it has helped me so much. If you could explain that. Becky also explained it. Laura. Yeah. Sorry, Laura also explained it, who's your co-author, but she was like, I think Gia might be better at explaining this.
Well, okay. So in the world of child development, I also teach child development classes, right? There is a very famous theorist named Vygotsky, and everybody refers to him. He's never going to go out of style. And one of his big contributions is this idea of scaffolding. And scaffolding is you help, shore them up. You help give them just the right kind of support until you can kind of pull away and they can do it independently. That's the teaching learning dynamic.
Right.
But for parenting, scaffolding doesn't really work to me in that imagery because you don't leave.
You're just there. You have
so you're not like, and I'm out. Good luck, 6-year-old.
Bye.
So I kind of, the same way I kind of thought in images with the VCP, the value-centered parenting tool, I had that same kind of image come to mind that parenting is more a staircase. You're just helping them get to the next level, the next level, the next level. We start wherever they are and we see all the way at the top of that staircase is some form of independence, like driving off to college or whatever that might be. So each step is just the next developmental leap that they can take that might be slightly outside of their comfort zone, but you want them to go up in skills.
Yes.
That's why I named it upskilling, which I think is more like in the business world or something, upskill.
Yeah, but it's so perfect for what it is.
So you can figure out that your child needs to be upskilled anytime you catch yourself saying they always, they never, all of a sudden, out of nowhere. Anything that's like a kind of a surprise to you usually means that your child has changed, but your parenting hasn't.
Yeah.
Yes. And
it's so great.
Oh,
it's
good.
So great.
It's so good to hear that. Okay, good. Yeah. So, I mean, you can use it for anything, right? So say, for example, they start fighting bath time with everything in their body. Think to yourself like, okay, they've been doing baths their whole life. So what can they do towards independence? Instead of looking at it as misbehavior, look at it as communication. So they're saying, I've done this my whole life. Kind of like when my son was like, I'm not a baby anymore. Right?
So great.
And so you could be like, okay, instead of me plopping them into a bath, maybe they could turn it on. Maybe they could wash their own hair. Maybe they're ready for a shower. Like, let's figure out what goes up in skill. And then you'll see almost instantly the behavior changes. Your parenting changes, their behavior changes.
Yeah.
And you're building up their skills towards independence. So everyone wins.
Yeah, I really didn't. She started fighting me on breakfast. And I was like, what are we doing? And I was like, oh, Yeah, you're definitely at the age where you should be getting your own breakfast.
Yes.
Like we have everything accessible. It's at height appropriate, and I'm like, oh. And as soon as she did that, it was like, then she started making me meals when she would come home from school.
That's amazing.
I mean, nothing I could eat, but so
that's
sweet.
Okay. Yes.
And she would just like, she's like, I'm going to make a Nutella sandwich. And so she would just.
I would eat that.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
They're pretty good. And so she was just like, and she'd bring me like, we don't often have sodas, but with the pregnancy, I have Fresca in cans. So she'd be like, here's a Fresca. And she's like, can I have a sip? And so it was like a way to bond at the same time. And I was like, oh, she was ready for the next level. And
it feels like magic.
I mean, I think I would have made her breakfast until she was 18 years old.
We get stuck in the rote, and then we think they're being bad or misbehaving, and we just we missed it.
Yeah,
they got older.
I'm like, she's literally telling me
they are,
parent differently,
but they don't know how to say that. So
they don't know what it is. Like we don't know what it is.
Exactly. I know it feels like doing a magic trick, and it's great.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you'd like to share? Oh yeah, we're at an hour. That's great.
No, that's good. Yeah.
We good? Okay, where can people follow you?
My handle on Instagram is Parent Coach Gia. I also have a website. It's my full name, Gia Gambaro Blount. Those are the two places that you can find. In person, I teach a class at Village Birth in Pasadena.
Wonderful.
Yes. And then I have my online class. That's the group coaching. If you want to join
I'm going to be doing that.
You should.
I think I'll wait till he's 2. Yeah. But I definitely want to get on
it's great. It's super fun too. Like they also have access to me via text. Like that's pretty lucky.
Yeah.
I call it having a parenting coach in your back pocket.
Well, Laura said, she goes, one of the reasons I wanted to do this book is so I could literally utilize Gia whenever I needed to utilize
She's
it.
always said it was her long con. She's like, now I just have a coach all the time.
So
I think people feel nervous to like hire a parenting coach like they did something wrong, but they didn't. But joining like group coaching feels just like it's like a class. Yeah. It's a support.
But I've gone through talk therapy and trained for and like done research on so many other things. Parenting, which is the most important thing I could probably contribute to society, is my child. It's like, I think that getting all the resources you can is the best thing to do.
I agree.
Yes. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, guys, that wraps it up for us. You can follow me at The Funny Thing Is Podcast on all socials or at Nicole Birch Comedy on all socials. And you can check out my tour dates at NicoleComedy.com. Thank you again. We'll see you next week.